All right, everybody, it is that time again. It is nearly 2 o'clock. We went on a minute early. I have a feeling I might go over the hour today. It is that time again. It is Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and it is time for the most exciting episode of My CP Does Not Define Me right now. I'm going to declare this as we are. Okay, I'm going to declare this where we're at here. And as you guys come on, I can't see anybody yet. I'm not sure if I am able to see the comments here. I may have to get somebody to comment real quick so I can actually see it. All right, so what I'm going to cover today and what we're going to go over today is sex and marriage. Okay, this is going to be one of those shows where we're going to go over some hard-hitting stuff. Okay, so I hope you guys are with me. I hope I can see that I've got one person on camera right now. I can't tell who you are, so do me a favor and comment so I know who you are. I'm trying to see if I can actually see the comments. I may have to back out of here and do this a little different. I'm actually posting direct to Cerebral Palsy Sunrise today, so hopefully everybody, we can, somebody is able to comment so I can see everything. All right, so to talk about this show today, I'm going to hit some hard-hitting issues. I'm going to keep it clean, but I'm going to be very real. Okay, and I'm not sure if all right, I'm not sure if anybody can see me or not. I'm not sure if I can get anybody to comment real quick. All right, so we're going to talk about sex and marriage with CP today. All right, now this show I've been wanting to do for a long time, and a lot of people honestly are scared to death to talk about it because they really don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to act. And it's one of those things where it's a touchy subject because people have millions and millions of questions, but if you don't ask them, you're not going to get to know the answers. Okay, sex is a part of marriage, and marriage is a part of life. Okay, I'm gonna say that first off. Secondly, you have to be honest in this conversation. Okay, I'm not gonna sugarcoat stuff. This is gonna be something that a lot of you may know, some of you may not know. Hopefully, you're gonna learn something today. As you guys come in, feel free to comment and ask any questions you want. I will do to the best of my ability to answer them. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see and everybody can hear me okay. Please comment if you can. Hey. Thank you so much, Ms. Brown, for joining me. I appreciate it. All right, the first thing in any marriage, for anything to work, with cerebral palsy especially, or any disability for that matter, communication is top key. Husband and wife, hey, Ms. Jill, husband and wife have to communicate in marriage. Okay, that's fact number one. If you guys don't talk to each other and let each other know what you want, this is not going to work. You cannot have a communicationless marriage, okay? And it's not always husbands submit to wives. It's wives submit to husbands as husbands submit to wives. Let me say that again. Hey, Kayla, how are you? Wives submit to husbands as husbands submit to wives. What I mean by that is it is an equal partnership. Now, we're going to cover marriage for the first 30 minutes, and I'm going to bounce back and forth because it covers both. Okay, as I said, Men and women want sex. Everybody wants it. Everybody wants to talk about it. And when you have a disability, for some reason, it is one of the hardest things to talk about in the disabled communities for some people, okay? There are groups to talk about it, but there's also a lot of misinformation. So you have to be very, very careful, okay? Now, again, I'm going to say this. These are my opinions. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to respect them. You don't have to like them, but it is what they are. These are my opinions, and this is what I'm going to give. So I talked about communication in a marriage, okay? One of the best pieces of information that I can give you when it comes to communication is dialogue communication. Dialogue communication is probably the best tool in the English language. What is dialogue communication? Some people know, some people don't. This is an example of dialogue communication. You have 1 to 2 people talking in a conversation in a room. They're sitting close to each other. You're looking into each other's eyes. You're making contact. That is very important. One person has a pen in their hand. The person with the pen in their hand is the only person that is allowed to speak. While they are holding that pen, what they say, I'll give you an example. If a wife is talking to a husband and she has the pen in her hand and she says, Joe, you made me feel 2 inches tall last night. All Joe can say, and all Joe is allowed to say at that time is, what I heard you say was, I made you feel small last night. Joe, you made me feel small last night because you said my chair makes me weak. What I heard you say was, I made you feel small last night because I said your chair makes you weak. All the person without the pen is able to do is repeat back exactly verbatim what the person with the pen said. And you make sure that you don't miss a step in dialogue communication. Now, later on, the roles are reversed and you don't get a lot of, but you said this and you said this and you did that. See, all that stuff right there creates tension. Tension in a marriage is going to happen. Fights in a marriage are going to happen. Arguments in a marriage are going to happen. It is normal. Once you get past that honeymoon stage, now this is something that is said. I don't agree with this, and I'm going to tell you why. Once you get past the honeymoon stage, it gets harder. It gets harder. Let me explain something. Hey, Michael, how are you? For me, the honeymoon stage, pieces of the honeymoon stage are always there. It may be a little different and a little less, but pieces of the honeymoon stage should always remain in a marriage because it's that fire and that spark and that love that creates everything else. And if you don't have that, or you find yourself losing that, not just based on sex. We're going to get to that in a minute, I promise you. Marriage isn't just about sex. It's not where the man walks in and says, all right, I want it, give it to me now. That is not how it works. And a lot of men think that. I'm going to tell my wife I'm going to get sex when I want it. She going to give it to me when I want it because I'm a man. No, what you are is you're going to sit there, you're going to talk about it, and you're going to wait because you got to compromise. Okay? I got to tell you guys, you got to work stuff out. Okay? You got to build a friendship first. You got to get married first. You got to understand each other. Sex is a great thing. Sex is a great thing, and it should be part of marriage. and it should be passionate, and it should be loving, and you can get a little wild under the sheets, okay? I'm not saying you can't put some little, I'm not saying you can't put a little freak in there, okay? You know what I'm saying? Look, ain't nothing wrong with a little strawberries and whipped cream, okay? I told you, we're going to cover some stuff on this show. Some of y'all may know, some of y'all may not. If you don't like it, feel free to leave. I'm letting you know now. But to be honest, all of this has to come together as a unit. You cannot have a marriage without love. You cannot have a marriage without communication. You cannot have a marriage without friendship. And you cannot have a marriage without trust. Trust is something that is earned. It is not given. It is like respect. Trust is earned, and both sides, let me say that again, both sides have to earn it. Now, I want to talk about something. There are two things that spark the most divorces in America. Top two, money and sex. It's always about money and sex. For me, the issue is not money. It never has been. We have what we have. I manage it. I set up a budget every week. I set up a budget every month. We go through. We pay the rent. I talk to my wife about everything. Okay? I don't hide. All right? Now, I'm going to go back and I'm going to say this, and I want to say this enough to where everybody hears this. For me, marriage is not easy. Marriage is work. And you got to work your off every day to make it right. You have to show her that you love her every day. Don't just tell her once a week and think that's okay. Okay? You got to find out what her love language is. You got to find out what she wants. You got to find out what she likes. You got to find out what makes her tick to understand what marriage and sex is all about. Okay? That's part of marriage. That's part of life. That's part of how this works. Okay? So now, people with disabilities, with cerebral palsy, a lot of people have trouble with sex because they're worried about position. They're worried about feeling. They're worried about pain. They're worried about hurting themselves. And some of them don't know what to do. Okay? Now, part of this right here, what we're going to get into, there are books out for people with disabilities. There is a Kama Sutra out for people with disabilities. I suggest you look into it. I suggest you get it. I think it is a great piece of literature. Now, remember, every case of cerebral palsy is different. Every case of cerebral palsy has to be talked about between you and your spouse. If you do not talk to your spouse about what you want to do, about how her body works, about how things feel, and for the love of God, if she says stop, stop. Because if you turn it off, and I'm talking about this in a nutshell, if you turn it off, it is very, very difficult to turn it back on. She loses trust in you. She loses value in you. And it's got to be good for both. Now, I'm going to say something. In marriage, when you wake up in the morning, don't just get up out of bed and start your day. Turn over. Look at your wife. Hey, Charles, how you doing? Hey, Liz Rogers, how you doing? Thank you for joining me. Turn over, look at your wife in the eyes and admire her for just a few minutes. I can tell you right now, If you take the time to admire your wife, tell her that she is beautiful, tell her that you are happy to be with her and you are thankful for her. If you do that every day, do you know how much better your sex life will be? When you compliment your wife, and when wives compliment their husbands, I'm not talking about giving them a swollen head, and I'm talking about up here. I'm talking about up here. We're going to get to that in a minute because men think with the wrong head all the time. I done told y'all this going to be real now. I ain't going to pull no punches. Look, bottom line, women need and want compliments. They want to feel angelic. They want to feel sweet. And they want to feel, oh, so good. And if you don't make them feel that way, that's on you. Let me give you an example. Yes, you can buy roses. Okay? Everybody thinks the night that you should go all out is your honeymoon. That's a good night. Honeymoon night is a great night. I like the honeymoon. I think that's a wonderful thing. But here's what you do. On a Wednesday, that's got nothing to do with nothing. Go get 12 dozen or go get 12 roses. Spend some money. Reach in your pocket, reach in your wallet, pull out $29 and spend some money. You take them roses and you break the petals down and you get all the petals in a little basket. And you drop them rose petals all over the bed, all over the pillow. And you get candles, not too many because candle wax can be a bad thing if the headboard is moving. I told you we're going to be real, guys. Set it around and make sure there's romantic music playing. Make sure there's rose petals. Make sure that she got chocolate right there. Make it fun for her and you. Make it different. Don't just get in there, hit it, and quit it. I'm being real now. This is not how fast can you get yours and go to sleep. No, no. This is a mutual act. Sex has to be between two people. Sex has to be enjoyed by both parties. It's got to be soft and tender and sensual, and then you can rev it up a little bit. Don't just go in there like you driving your truck through a hayfield. No. Y'all know what foreplay is. I told you we're going to get into this slow, guys. I'm not going to just go crazy and just say, oh, do this position and do this position. I'm going to go back to positions in just a second. But going back to marriage, everything I'm talking about with sex involves in marriage as well, too. Everything that you do and everything that you say, your wife notices. Okay? So I was talking about just on a Wednesday, go and get 12 roses, break them roses up, put them roses on the bed all over, the rose petals everywhere. Get the soft, silky sheets that you paid $100 for. Put them bad boys on the bed. Get the romantic music and put something on there that she's gonna like. A saxophone with and with Kenny G or Luther Vandross or Phil Collins. Put something on there you know she's gonna like. Play. And don't just dive in there and go with it. I mean, you got to be careful. You got to be careful with what you're doing as far as that is concerned. I am. Hang on, I gotta text real quick, guys. I gotta answer this real fast. Sorry. you have to be angelic, and you have to be sweet, and you have to be careful, because she's going to tell you what she wants. She's going to tell you what she needs. She's going to tell you what she likes. Okay? And that's got to be okay. That's got to be okay, because I want you guys to know this sex is not all about the man getting it done and going to sleep and rolling over and no. You got to start slow and build up. See, women take a while to get going. Understand? Women take a while to get going. But when they get going, they go and they go and they go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say it. A woman can orgasm anywhere from 6 to 12 times in a row. Sometimes more, sometimes less. But once you get them going and you hit them spots, they're going to open up. Now, men, we're like bottle rockets. Okay? So understand, once we go, it's ooh, ah, woo. That's it. Okay? We roll over and go to sleep. And that's where it's got to stop. One of the reasons that sex is so special, a lot of couples want to look at each other in the eye when they're having sex, because missionary is a very, very tough thing for people, tough position for people with CP. I know it's tough for me. I either have to go from the side, I either have to go with from the lady on top. And again, I'm being real, guys. I ain't gonna pull no punches. So understand that this is, you got to take it one step at a time. And if you want flexibility in your sex life, stretch. I'm almost 40. And let me tell you what, if you don't stretch before sex, you are going to pay for it later. Okay? My legs only bend a certain way. If I'm trying to, look, y'all got to understand where I'm coming from now. You got to be careful, because it's got to be one of these things where it's got to be calculated, but you also have to take your time. You ain't got to run in there and be quick and just, oh, okay, I'm done, I can go to sleep. No, that's not what it's about. Remember, this is an act between two folks. And also remember that if you don't, you're going to regret it, because you want her to enjoy this as much as you. You want the man to enjoy it as much as the woman, and you have to time it. Sex and timing is one of the hardest things to accomplish when having intercourse. And with a disability, you got to bend the right way and move the right way to get the position to make sure she feels good and you feel good at the same time. You know, I just want this to be as happy of an occasion for both parties. And if you don't communicate about it, just like in marriage, you're going to fail. And sex should be one of these things that's important. But your marriage to your wife should be as important. Don't let sex outweigh your marriage. And don't let marriage outweigh your sex life. She will be more happy that if you don't just roll over and go to sleep. Maybe did you think she wants to cuddle too? That is exactly right. But you have to understand that this has to be talked about before you just go in there and get the deed done. Honey, what do you like? Does this feel okay? You know, am I doing this right? Tell me what you need. Faster, slower, to the right, to the left. You got to communicate and you got to be real. Now, let me say this as kindly as I can, and please understand when I say this. Sex is not just penetrating, getting it done, and being finished. A woman's body is a temple, and it should be treated as such. There are more erogenous zones at the bottom of the foot and the back of the thigh and the hamstring and the inner thigh and the arm and the elbow. Woo-wee. Y'all, let me tell you. Figure out what she likes on her entire body. Don't just go to the one area of happiness and be done. Don't just get in there and say, okay, I did what I need to do and be finished. Take your time. Take your fingertips and roll down the side of the neck. Do you know how many touch cells are on the top of the neck? When you run when you take your fingertips and just go right down the inside of your arm, real light, to yourself. Just right down, barely touch, just barely right on down the arm. Now, that right there, you do that enough. Now, put your nail to it and go back up. Now, imagine that on the inner thigh. On the inner thigh. Boy, I'm telling you, if you do it right, magic happens. And that's what it should be. That's what it should be. That's what it should be about. It should be about her and you in intimacy together. Not one person getting theirs, rolling over and going to sleep. Okay, I'm done. We can do it again next week. No, that destroys marriages so fast. That destroys marriages so fast because one person is worried about getting theirs and being done, and nobody talks about it, and nobody thinks about it, and nobody goes anywhere, and nobody does anything, and that's just it. It's got to be one of these things where it's got to be together. JP said this: if she understands your physical limitations and is accepting of those limitations, even with intimacy, hang on to them, because that's true. That's true. You got to understand that this is exactly right. Your wife knows you better than you do sometimes, and men, understand, don't think you know everything. Don't be stubborn and don't be told that you can't tell me nothing. I know what I'm doing. Let me worry about me. No. Worry about each other. Be playful, but be real. Be harmonic, but be understanding. That's what sex is about. That's what sex is about. That's what life is about. That's what marriage is about. Understand that this in the United States of America, more marriages divorce because of a lack of communication and misunderstanding. And right now, with the pandemic, marriage is up, the divorce rate is up 14%. 14%. Because people are not communicating. People are not talking to each other and saying, look, I have a problem with this. Can we work this out? You've got to be open on both ends, men and women. It's not just about men. It's not just about women. It's about each other. Now, I believe in marriage. I believe that marriage is not just a piece of paper. I believe that marriage is before the eyes of God, and I believe in that union. Now, let me say this. I don't think divorce is a good thing, and I don't want to see it, but sometimes it happens. And when you know it's not right, and you know you're not being treated fairly, and you know you are not being treated the way you should, if you're being abused, if you're being hurt, if you're being lied to, if you're being cheated on, sometimes you got to go. There are marriage counselors. There are Bible studies. There are pastors. There are people that you can see. There are people that you can pray with. Don't just end it quick. Talk about it. Try to work it out. Try to stick through it. Try to get through it together. Try to love one another. And try different things. Men, don't beg. Don't beg your women. And women, don't beg your men. Lord, have mercy. Y'all can't get sex every day. My voice just cracked. I'm sorry. Y'all can't get sex every day. Let it rest a little bit. Think with the right head. Don't think with the wrong one. Okay? I've said that before. Understand that it's give and take. Okay? But it's give and take in marriage too. Okay? Understand that it is not just about sex, but understand sex is a big part of marriage. Okay? But if you're a closed-minded person and you don't have the ability to listen, you are going to have trouble. And men, let me address this real quick. Woman, go in the kitchen and make me a sandwich. No, 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 no. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to ask your wife to do something, how would you want to be asked? Honey, would you please go in the kitchen and make me a sandwich? You know, that's why I never got married. I'm scared too because I've been in bad relationships. But see, here's the thing. And it's, I believe that there's somebody out there for everybody. But I also believe that a bad relationship doesn't start out that way, but you've got to feel each other out first, and you've got to understand. You can't just, don't just date 6 months and move in together. My God, that right there is the end of everything. It's not like trying out a car. You can't just drive it around a little bit and then get rid of it. It doesn't work that way. For me, again, these are my opinions. You don't have to like them. You don't have to respect them. I'm just giving them to you to try to, to help out a little bit. You've got to be real. And husbands and wives, don't shut down. Don't shut down on each other. Y'all can't stay mad. Don't go to bed angry. That is the worst thing that you can do. If you go to bed angry and you don't, you may not talk about it, but don't go to bed angry, because you might not wake up, and you don't want to go to bed with the last thing on your heart being anger. I'm telling you, that's the worst thing you can have. Turn over and kiss your wife, love your husband, and understand that if they don't want to talk about it and you need to walk away and go for a walk to clear your head, don't yell at her, don't yell at him. Don't yell at each other. Don't throw things. Don't get violent. Work it out. Be calm and gentle in your communication because we are people. The fact that we have disabilities does not mean we are not people. JP said this. I asked her to go make me a sandwich. She would say, only if you buy me. I'm not sure what that last word is there. Sorry about that, JP. I'm not sure what that, if that's something to go on to sound. But look, you know, I believe that there has to be communication in everything. And men, stop being so insecure. Look, I deal with insecurities too. You've got to fully trust your wife. You can't go in there halfway. You can't go in the halfway. All right, don't accuse her of doing something. Well, I saw you talking to him over there. I guess you gave him your phone number. You don't know what she was doing. She could have been just saying hi. She knows who she's coming home to. Stop being so daggone mad all the time like she done something wrong. And look, understand, everybody makes mistakes in life. One of the worst things that I do in our marriage, honey, what's wrong? Honey, what's wrong? Honey, what's wrong? Ask her once. If she tells you nothing, let that be okay. Until she decides to open up and tell you, she ain't gonna tell you, and you can't drag it over. And if you do, it's going to tick her off. Understand that if you do, it is going to tick her off. Understand, I'm going to say that again. If you push her, all you are doing is pushing her away. If you treat a woman as if she is yours and you hold her too tightly, she will wither and die as if she were a flower. Oh, an alpaca. Okay. I didn't catch that till just now. I got you, JP. Thank you. But if you hold out your hand and give it to her and let her land in it as if she was a butterfly, she will come back to you. All right. 4 things I want to cover why relationships get stagnant. 1, don't talk about the same thing every day. If you don't make changes when something's wrong, it's your own fault. Honey, did you get the milk? Honey, did you get the milk? You always forget the milk. You good for nothing, so-and-so. You don't do nothing right in this. Look, he forgot the milk one time. Don't bring it up every 10 times telling him you always forget. Look, cousin Roy, he forgets the milk every time I tell him to go to the store. Every time I tell him, I'm telling him, he forgets the milk. Look, have faith in you, man, and tell him the good things he's done. Don't always tell him the bad things. Same thing goes for the women. All she gonna do is cheat. All she gonna do is put on that low-cut shirt and go out there and flirt with everybody. She ain't flirting. If you don't trust her to go out, you need to reevaluate yourself. You need to reevaluate who you are and what you are doing. You need to reevaluate when, where, and why you fell in love with her in the first place. Because if you don't establish trust in the long run, something is going to happen and you're going to break. And if you break, I'm going to tell you right now, it is the worst thing to recover from. Let me read this real quick. In my last relationship, we both had a disability, and because of both of our limitations, we were never able to figure out a way to be intimate. I believe that was a huge reason why our relationship did not work out. Yes, that can be one of the top reasons why. But you have to think outside the box when it comes to intimacy. Intimacy is just not about penetration. Intimacy is about kissing, about foreplay, about cuddling, about touch, about soft, about firm, about caress, about love. It is about all of these things. And you have to understand that you can't go to step 12 before you get to step 2. Okay? Number 2, this is why relationships become stagnant. This is why relationships die too fast. Sex doesn't always have to be planned out. Sometimes you got to put away the calendar. Sometimes you got to put away the notebook. Sometimes you ain't got to write down what we did where, in what room, in what position sometimes you just got to be spontaneous. Sometimes you just have to be real. Sometimes you just have to understand that it is what it is. And you have to understand why you do what you do, but it's got to be different. Don't do the same thing every time. You want to impress your man, women? Wear something you ain't never worn before. Show him a little something. Walk or waddle or roll or get in there any way you can and work what you got. And women, please, please, ladies, stop saying, does this make me look fat? I can't wear this. I just can't wear it. Oh, God, I look so horrible. This is so bad. Look, this is supposed to be an intimate moment. Your man does not think you look fat. Your man is supposed to like you just the way you are. And you've got to be, compliments can go so far. Baby, you look beautiful. Good Lord. I mean, just throw them out there, but be real with them. Don't throw them out there like they a piece of a chocolate bar and reel it back in trying to get something else. No, be real with it. Understand, you got to treat your woman like a diamond. You got to polish it. You got to hold it. You got to put it in one of them little protective pouches and make sure that she understands that she is valued. If your wife doesn't feel like she's valued, how in the world is she going to value you? Understand that if your wife feels like she's on the top of the world, she's going to bring you right there with her. You got to understand that your wife and your woman and your girlfriend and has got to mean the most important thing in your life. 3, this is another reason why relationships go stagnant. Lack of trust. You have sex before trust is ever established. Sex can last 3 hours, sex can last 3 minutes, sex can last 30 seconds, but if you don't establish trust first, it's dead. And the whole relationship will be dead. And everything about the relationship will be dead because there's no trust. There's no connection. There has to be a connection there. If there's not a connection there, it is not going to work. Men, understand. Sometimes your woman is going to go in the other room to get away from you. Top reason number 4, and I want to broach this very carefully, but listen to me now. Listen to me. You've got to understand that women need space. They cannot be treated like they're claustrophobic. They cannot be treated like you're going to hold them so close they can't breathe. I said earlier, if you hold a woman like a butterfly, she'll come back to you. If you hold her like a tight flower, she's going to wilt and die. I know what I'm talking about. I've seen it happen. Guys, sometimes you need time apart. Time apart is good. Okay? You each need space. Now, for the men, on the women's side, when your man asks you a question, Be honest. Be honest. Honesty in a relationship can make it spark. If you have trust and honesty in a relationship, if you have trust and honesty in everything that you do, if you have trust and honesty in where you are, if you have trust and honesty in God and are open with Him, He knows what's going on. Okay? But sometimes He wants to hear it from you. Again, this religion may not work for everybody, but it works for me. Amen. I'm just letting you know. Now, I'm gonna say this. I got about 15 minutes left. If you guys want to ask me a question, go ahead and get the questions going right now, because I want to try to answer some that I haven't answered today. If you have a question or a comment that you want to make, all right. Ray basically said this: we tell each other we are fat, but we both are gaining baby weight. This is pregnancy. Lol. We have great humorous relationships. We are best friends. That is so important. Being friends in a relationship is so important, okay? And understanding that each of you have values and each of you have boundaries and each of you have things that you want to be and understand and know. Our number one rule is we can go out with friends during the day, but nighttime is our time. That is a great rule. Understand. Let me cover this real quick. Thank you, Ray, for mentioning that. I want to say this real quick. Men and women, when you date a guy or when you marry a guy, he had his friends before he met you. Now understand, if his friends are making a bad impact or doing something wrong or doing something that is hurtful, then you have a right to say something. But as his wife, support him and his friends, because if you love them and you love him, he's going to love you back even more and give you what you deserve, which is what I said earlier, to be treated as a diamond that you are. Let me say this also. Men, treat your woman as if it is the last day you will ever hold them. Treat them as precious, precious, precious jewels, because they need that. They need to be told they look beautiful. They need to be told they are beautiful. They need to be told they are wonderful. I will tell you right now, that will make a woman more happy when she spends all that time on her hair, and when she goes to the salon and spends time on her hair and $300 on your hair. Your first reaction should be not, why in the world did you spend $300 on your hair? Your first reaction should be, good God Almighty, woo, you look good. That should be your first reaction. Not, where in the world did the money go out of our bank account for $300? No, don't do all that. You don't need to do all that. Understand, you've got to show your woman that you believe in what she's doing. Be supportive in each other. Be supportive in who you are. And you know what? Listen, last thing I'm going to cover on here. If your woman has a problem with something, okay, you're going to go on a trip. And she says, honey, I really don't think you should go. We got all this stuff going on and you about to go something. Please don't leave me. I don't think it's a good idea. If she can give you 2 reasons why she doesn't think you should go, and they're good reasons, evaluate what she's saying. Don't turn around and walk out, because I'm going to tell you something. You got to come back home. And when you come back home, things ain't going to be the same, Jack. I'm trying to let you know. You've got to evaluate their conversation. Women know what they're talking about. They may have to explain it a little bit different. They may have to say things a little bit different. Charles says, I will say this now. My girlfriend saved my life, actual life. That's why I love her more than normal. My former marriage went bad quick. I owe her my life. And see, that's the realization that I'm talking about. That's the realization of the real value of a woman. See, here's something that not everybody knows. Men can't live without women, but you know what? Women can't live without men either. So here's the thing. Y'all can't live without each other. Work it out. You got to be real. You got to be real. Don't jump down each other's throats, spending more time saying who did what to who. Hold her hand, hold her close, love her, kiss her, and show her that you care about her. And that other stuff is petty crap that you don't need to deal with. Let it go. Let it go. Work it out. Because you know what's more valuable than all of that? That's the life you have together right at this very minute. This is a perfect time to show intimacy to your wives. Whether you got CP, spina bifida, Down syndrome, all that stuff. Show each other what you mean to each other through words, through sex, through cards, through roses, through candy, through different things. Don't just make it one. Make it all of it. Understand that it's got to be real. It's got to be what it is. Now I'm going to spend the last 10 minutes covering this. Positions. Maybe this will help you guys out. I hope it will. When you are trying to achieve maximum sex orientation, closeness is a point. Understand that you want to try to be as close as you can together. Okay? You're going to have to tell each other what hurts. You're going to have to tell each other what works. You're going to have to tell her. You're going to have to tell him, bend this way. Can you try this way? You're going to have to. It may be the worst looking thing. You may be a pretzel hung by a wire somewhere, hanging from the ceiling, but you got to do what works. You got to understand, and you got to be at a point where it's got to be what's good for you. And y'all have got to work it out together. You have to communicate on what hurts, what doesn't feel good, and respect each other when you say no. Men don't do this. Can I do it just a little bit? Men, stop. Stop. When she says no, when she says don't want it, respect that. Stop trying to get in there when she don't want it. No means no. Respect that. You'll get a lot longer and you'll get a lot better in the long run if you respect what she says and does. So understand, this is what this is about. Understand, this is where this goes. Understand, this is what this is. You have to know that your wife knows what she wants and men know what they want, but you both have to compromise on how to get it. And if you don't compromise on how to get it, you're going to spend most of your time fighting and not love making. That's why it's called making love, not war. Work the stuff out that you got to work out. Stop fighting all the time. Stop trying to get what just one person wants, and make sure both parties are pleased. I'm going to cover this last couple of minutes. Men, stop asking your women, can I bring another one in the bedroom? No. If you do that, you are going to destroy what you have worked so hard to gain. You're going to destroy her. You're going to destroy you. You're going to destroy the other person that you bring in because of the fling that you want. You have got to be careful what you say and what you do in front of your wife. Pornography can kill a marriage. I'm telling you, pornography is, unless you both agree together, not one person watch it and one person don't, I'm telling you, it can kill a marriage. I have seen it happen. Be very careful with that. Be very careful with what you watch, the sites you go to. Have your wife set up a password so that you can't. There's nothing wrong with that. We are all tempted. We're men. It happens. That stuff is dangerous, and it can destroy you, and it can destroy your marriage, and it can destroy your wife and your relationship that you're in. I will tell you this. If you trust your wife enough to tell her what you're struggling with, be strong enough and be loved enough to understand that it's okay. Your struggles you've got to get through. Don't be scared. My boyfriend gave me a new life away from abuse. I will promise you, you will find someone who loves you unconditionally. I agree. Great comment. Great comment. Guys, listen, this has been a great show. If you guys want to reach me, if you guys want to find out about more topics, I can do a part 2 to this. I've enjoyed doing this show. Thank you so much for being a part of it. You can email me at carterdj85@gmail.com. You can email me at the Sportsminion Radio Show at yahoo.com. You will find this on YouTube. You will find this on CP Sunrise. You will find this on my Facebook page, DJ Carter. Please, 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 please tune into the show every Wednesday from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I want to thank all of you who have tuned in, who have watched this show, who have asked questions, who have gave comments. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I want to end with this. The only obstacles that man and woman cannot get past are the ones they shut down from and the ones they do not talk about. I want to say for sure that if you communicate in your marriage and you put God first. Now, again, this is for me. This is not for, I'm not sure who else, believes in that. Whoever you believe in, put them first. Okay? Because if you don't do that and you don't understand that you don't have a foundation that is supported by something positive, everything in that foundation will fall and crumble and you will lose what is most precious to you. Okay? Remember that everybody makes mistakes, but you can always learn from them. Love each other and love yourselves, and understand that it is imperative that you communicate. Love one another and love yourself. I'm D to the J with a roll away. Thank y'all so much for tuning into this. I really appreciate it. Please contact me. Let me know what you guys want. If you guys want another show like this, I'll be glad to do it. I love you all. Thank you very much for tuning in. You guys take care. Thank you so much. D to the J with a roll away. We'll see you next time on My CP Does Not Define Me, episode 10.